for European missions and European partnerships in DG Research and Innovation. You now had 2 days of detailed presentations about the initiatives and calls which have been launched for the 5 missions under the 2025 work program. My presentation will be the last one, and we'll go through the cross-cutting actions which have been designed under this work program for the missions. But before I start going through these cross-cutting actions, I would just like to provide you some information in order for you to ask some questions after my presentation, which will be done through Slido. And for that, you have a QR code, which is available and which you can use in order to ask your questions. So maybe I take a few seconds for you to look onto the QR code, to picture it, and so that you can also ask your questions, which we will be answering after the presentation. So now, as we continue to drive forward the 5 EU missions, I would like to highlight the importance of cross-cutting actions which support the implementation of our 5 European missions. These actions are not standalone initiatives. They are designed to complement the mission-specific activities, and they have an added value, which lies in fostering the synergies across the missions. They respond also to emerging needs and enable innovative experimental approaches for the missions. They provide horizontal support that helps us accelerate the process and tackle complex societal challenges at scale for the 5 EU missions on which you had the presentations yesterday and today. Let me go through the first cross-cutting activities for the missions. This first action is called in our work program 2025, Advancing Lead Markets and Proof of Concept for Deep Tech Solutions, Contributing to European Missions. This first action is a research and innovation action, and it aims at positioning the EU missions as catalysts for lead markets. With this action, we want to develop proof of concepts for deep tech solutions that address the mission's challenges, but we also would like to mobilize the demand. This means engaging both the public and private stakeholders to shape the markets for these solutions put in place for the missions. The actions include different types of activities, testing innovative regulatory and financial mechanisms for the missions, aligning procurement, investment, and mission priorities, and the outcomes that we expect through these initiatives are proof of concept for cutting-edge technologies and greater coordination across the actors to boost the uptake of the solutions that have been designed for the missions, and also an enhanced European innovation competitiveness for the topics that are implemented through the missions. For this action, we have a budget of 8 million euro. And as I said, this is a research and innovation action. The second cross-cutting activity that we are launching under the work program 2025 for the 5 missions is understanding and overcoming barriers to the scale-up of technologies that support the European missions. Here we are funding innovation actions that are aimed at understanding and overcoming the barriers that prevent innovative solutions from scaling. The focus call for integrating insights from social sciences and humanities to understand real-world behavior, resistance to innovation, and the systemic changes that are needed for the missions. The key questions for this action include how different groups can use, adapt, or resist new technologies. What are the legal and institutional barriers that exist at local or national levels in the context of the implementation of the missions, and also how cultural narratives affect public perceptions of innovation throughout these missions. The expected outcomes for these initiatives, for this call, are an improved understanding and a removal of the barriers to scale up innovative solutions that are relevant for the missions. We also expect through this action to have a stronger integration of social science and humanities in transdisciplinary research in order to ensure a more holistic approach to innovation deployment. The budget that is foreseen for this action is of €2 million. And as I said in the beginning, we foresee this initiative will be implemented through an innovation action. Then we have a third cross-cutting action that we foresee for the missions, which is strengthening the skills and capacity for the development of EU missions. This third cross-cutting action addresses the capacity and the skills gap that the missions can foresee in their implementation. We want here to equip the regions and the municipalities with the tools that they need to deploy innovation, to engage with their communities, and also to secure funding. These topics include an inventory of skills and also gap assessments. We also would like to have tailored capacity building programs that could be implemented for these missions. And we also encourage through this action local experimentation and risk-taking initiatives. The expected outcomes for this third cross-cutting action for the missions are that we would like to have more capable local ecosystems which are ready to implement the mission-relevant solutions. We would also like to have a better knowledge sharing and collaboration across regions and municipalities. And for these actions, we foresee a budget of €1 million, which will be implemented through a coordination and support actions. Under these cross-cutting actions for the missions, we also have other strategic supporting measures, and there are a few of them. And these strategic supporting measures are implemented in different ways. First of all, we have a public procurement initiative that will monitor and communicate the value and the progress of EU missions more effectively. Then we have a second action that we foresee, which is an indirectly managed action in cooperation with the OECD in order to build the evidence base for missions-oriented innovation. And under this action, we foresee activities that include, for instance, developing theory and best practices across the missions, supporting policy making through evidence and analysis of the existing gaps and the existing implementation of the missions, and also building a community of practice on mission-oriented policy. We are also, for the implementation of our missions at European level, we are also supported by our mission boards, which are composed of external experts who guide the Commission on the implementation of the missions and also on the engagement throughout the missions. So these were the cross-cutting actions that are implemented for the 5 missions under this work program 2025. And to conclude on this presentation of these different actions, I would like to recall that these cross-cutting actions are essential to create the conditions for the European missions to succeed. They are complementing the actions and the calls that you have seen yesterday and today that are implemented under each individual action. So these are complementary measures. And in that sense, they also help us move from isolated efforts across each of the missions to coherent systemic innovation and also actions that are grounded both in technology and social understanding. Through tackling the barriers to innovation, developing new markets, and also strengthening local capacity, we enable missions to deliver results that matter to citizens. This is what we aim through these actions, and it marks also the end of the presentation of these cross-cutting actions. I would like to thank you for your attention and engagement on the European missions. And now let me just highlight another and last slide before we move to the questions and answers. We will have a brokerage event that is foreseen for the implementation of our work program, for the preparation and the submission of the calls for our work program. This brokerage event is organized by the NCP for Missions, which is an international network of NCP's national contact points for Horizon Europe missions. The brokerage event is planned on 26th and 27th of May, and it will happen online. There will be different sessions. First of all, a plenary session with practical information to successfully navigate across the 2025 Horizon Europe mission calls. Then we have an online bilateral meetings sections which will be presented in order to have the expertise, the project ideas, and also explore collaboration opportunities among the stakeholders that are interested in submitting calls for applications. And we expect also to have a matchmaking phase throughout the implementation of throughout the opening of the call until the closure of the call. More information on this brokerage event is available on our website, which is dedicated to the missions, and you have the link that is foreseen, that is indicated on the slides. And the slides will be published on our webpage, so you will be able also to reach out to all the information for this brokerage event via our webpage. Now, let me move to the next part of our presentation, which is the questions and answers for these actions. I have here also with me a colleague that will be happy to answer some of your questions if needed. So again, the QR code and the on which you can submit and ask your questions. And let me now go through the first questions, or through the questions which have been asked by the audience. So on the first topic, the budget seems a bit small in this topic. Should proposal contribute to one or all expected outcome? The budget is indeed a budget of 8 million euro for this topic, for this first topic. It's a research and innovation action. The outcomes that we foresee are indicated in the work program, and of course, the ideal situation would be that we contribute through the proposals, through those different outcomes which we have foreseen, which is proof of concept, greater coordination, enhanced innovation, enhanced competitiveness at European level. So ideally, yes, we would like to have a contribution to all this expected outcome, but of course, it also depends on the content of the proposal and on the objectives that will be put forward by each proposal and on the content of these proposals. I can also look to my colleague if there is anything to add in relation to this question. Sven, would you like to add something on that?
Fabienne, I think we were just confusing the order. The cross 01 is the coordination and support action with 1 million.
Okay.
I think you just said I think you just said it would be the innovation action with 8 million, which
okay.
is actually
yes,
the cross 3.
Yeah,
to be clear here, this is a coordination and support action, so it is not implementing, it is not creating new knowledge, it shall assist the projects. So in that respect, a 1 million budget is not that small. It shall assist the missions, the mission platforms, and the outcomes to be realized are the short-term effects to be created. It's not a tick box that is to be, hey, I have done that, I have done that, and I have done that. No, it is what you propose, the actions you propose shall have an effect on what is mentioned in the outcomes. So in general, one shall address all outcomes. One shall achieve with the project, one shall aim at achieving all the outcomes that are described, unless it's specifically written that only some should be addressed.
Thank
That
you.
was just a comment on that one and a slight correction, not to confuse more than necessary.
No, thank you, Sven. I was confused by the number that it was the first action, so I referred back to the one on lead markets, but you are fully right to make this correction. So coordination and support action with a budget of 1 million, as Sven highlighted then later on. The second question is, by whom will the proposals be validated? We follow for these cross-cutting actions the same principles and processes as we follow for all the calls that we launch under our work programs. There is an evaluation of our proposals by independent experts, and the proposals are evaluated on the basis of the criteria that are foreseen under Horizon Europe and also under the relevant work for and under the elements foreseen in the work program for each action. So here the way we evaluate the proposals, also check the eligibility of proposals, is the way we also follow for any other call under Horizon Europe, provided also we have the dedicated conditions and specific criteria applicable under our work program. So here there is no difference. Then I'm looking into the third question. Deep tech solutions for the 5 missions are quite different indeed. Is it expected to address all the missions in a single proposal? I guess I will here give the floor to Sven, but yes, but just specify that those cross-cutting action indeed should be cross the 5 missions, the 5 topics. And these are not actions which are foreseen for individual missions, but we would like to have as much as possible our proposals that the proposal that we will receive go across the 5 missions, and the specificity is linked to the actions that we intend those proposals to implement and to respond to our calls. But Sven, if you would like to just maybe complement on that question.
Well, the text of the third topic is pretty clear about that. It states projects should cover ideally all missions, and preference will be given to proposals covering several missions. So whoever proposes will be assessed also against this sentence. To understand here why we are doing these cross-cutting actions or these cross-cutting activities, it is not so much in showing a very concrete effect that the mission has achieved now a little bit more, because then it would be really competitive among the missions. What we want to achieve is to have a systematic development of the mission environments, that we show how, in the topic 2, how barriers can be overcome. In the topic 3, how the deep tech solutions that are relevant for the missions, how deep tech solutions in general relevant for the missions can be linked to the mission's environment and can flourish and can be put to practice there. So one part of the work is on the side of the potential solutions. The other part of the project is on the side of the demand, on the side of the public authorities, on the side of public procurement, where we have certain tools in our toolbox that are available, that are looking a little bit different in the different member states, to procure in an innovation-friendly manner. And now we have to connect the dots in the mission context. And that is what these projects shall achieve. They shall show the mission environment is something where we can work on the supply side of solutions, and we can work on the demand side. And if we do it properly, and we are demonstrating it, how to do it properly in this innovative project with the 4 million euro, then we can systematically achieve more. So it's not so much about the concrete effect for the mission, it's the effect on the mission environment. And I take a little bit the one question remaining here. The barriers to innovations are very different in the 5 missions. Is it expected to address all of them in one proposal? Yes, it's the same thing. Yeah, it's showing the systemic effect on the mission environment on the stakeholder groups which are there. Not so much the very concrete example.
Thank you, Sven. Let's move to the last question, as I see it on Slido. First outcome, local authorities are mentioned. It's for this, it's for the cross-cutting action, which is the one that we mentioned in our first, yes, the CSA. So here, the local authorities are mentioned, but they are not the only ones involved in the missions, like for the cancer mission, adaptation, how to address this. Now, as Sven mentioned before, also in relation to the two previous questions, since we want to tackle the missions concept, the missions as a way to tackle our societal challenges at European level, we address, of course, different types of stakeholders across those missions. And the idea here is, of course, not to address is not to identify all the different actors for each individual mission. It's really looking, and since it's on skills and skills and capacity development for the missions, here we have certain types of actors which are also similar in each of the missions that are implemented. So it can be local authorities, it can also be other types of entities, but what is important for this cross-cutting action is that we address the organizations, the stakeholders, which have a role to play in capacity building, in analyzing also the skill, in building up the adequate skills for the implementation of the missions. So here we also have similar actors that are foreseen, but we do not individualize per mission the type of actors that we would like to see. So it's up to the proposal also to look into those actors which would best help addressing the challenges that we have identified for this specific goal. Sven, anything to add, or should I move to the next question?
And at the end, even in the cancer mission, it would, or the adaptation mission, it comes very often down to local authorities because you have a city-owned hospital, and the city-owned hospital is under procurement rules. If they want to procure something, so or they have the same problems in accessing skills, etc., etc. So at the end, for the success of the missions, if we want to achieve the missions objectives by the timelines provided in the missions, we have to overcome these barriers and mobilize on the local level. It doesn't help us that much on staying in the academic world or staying in the high-level policymakers world. And here these actions are really going down to the local level and helping to launch investments for the missions there. On the last question, I think this is for me, yeah, that is just to confirm this, the third action is indeed an innovation action. And if there is the third bullet point in the in the scope, proposals should aim at mobilizing resources to experiment innovative procurement and financial models like procurement of innovation, competitive dialogue, or other innovation-friendly procurement methods. So we have formulated here an innovation action, which is providing new knowledge, which is developing new approaches, which shall experiment. We have a sentence that the action can support to a certain degree concrete smaller procurements, but it is not formulated as a procurement of innovation action or as a pre-commercial procurement in the sense of the project design. It can have features, it can have activities like a PPC, a PCP, PPI, but it works as an innovation action with the rules of an innovation action.
Thank you, Sven, for explaining the distinction. So I do not see any other question on our Slido chat. So let me just add that if there is any other question, you can, of course, send your questions on our research inquiry service. On the slides that will be put on the web, you will also have all relevant information to enable you to contact the Commission and our services in order you have, in case you have further questions. With that having said, I would like to thank you for your attention. Thank you for your interest in these cross-cutting actions. Thanks also, Sven, for your collaboration on this presentation, and I wish you all a good evening. Thank you.
A nice weekend.
Yeah.
Fabienne, we were very smooth in our duo. Ciao, ciao.